Never let anyone convince you war evolves slowly. It doesn't. In 1944, everything changed almost overnight. Weapons, tactics, power, fear. Every part of war flipped in 1 year. If you think you know what shaped modern warfare, you're about to find out how much of it traces straight back to 1944. And the truth hits way harder than most people expect. 44 wasn't just a year. It was a breaking point, a pressure cooker, a moment where massive armies, new technology, rising desperation, and huge decisions all collided. Old generals tried to use old playbooks, but the world around them had already changed. It was like trying to fight a modern fire with a bucket of water, and the armies that failed to adapt were crushed. In this video, we're going deep into why 1944 didn't just push the war forward, it reinvented war itself. Before 1944, most armies still believed in slow planning, giant formations, and long, predictable movements, the kind of stuff that worked in World War I. The problem was simple. The world wasn't the same anymore. Weapons moved faster, planes hit harder, information traveled quicker, and political pressure pushed every nation to take risks they never would have taken before. The challenge was this: could world leaders and generals change their entire style of fighting in real time? If they couldn't, they lost. If they could, they'd shape the next 80 years of military history. And in 1944, we got the answer. This is the heart of the story. And to show how 1944 changed warfare forever, we need to break down each thing that exploded into the world that year. Strategies, technologies, battles, and hidden decisions that still affect the world today. Tanks stopped being slow monsters. For years, tanks were basically rolling bunkers. Thick armor, heavy guns, super slow. The kind you point forward like a battering ram. But by 1944, tanks weren't just weapons. They were athletes. Armies learned that speed beats size. A slow tank, no matter how strong, is dead the moment aircraft or fast vehicles catch it. This is why the Sherman tanks, lighter and faster, could outmaneuver Germany's huge Tiger tanks. A Tiger could win head-on, sure, but war wasn't head-on anymore. It was fast, flexible, unpredictable. Modern warfare, whether in Iraq, Ukraine, or anywhere else, still follows this rule: mobility beats muscle. A rule written in 1944.2. D-Day, the science of deception. Everyone knows about Normandy, but most people don't know the real genius behind it. The Allies didn't just land troops. They played the biggest trick in military history. Fake tanks made of rubber, fake radio chatter, fake troop camps, fake generals. The Germans were watching everything and fell for all of it. The Allies convinced them the landing would be at Calais, not Normandy, and Germany moved its best divisions to the wrong place. This wasn't luck. This was psychological warfare. Today, every major military uses deception like this: fake heat signatures, fake radar signals, false cyber trails, misinformation campaigns, decoy targets. D-Day wasn't just a landing. It was the birth of modern misdirection. Paratroopers turned the battlefield into a maze. 1944 is the year soldiers started dropping from the sky like ghosts. Before then, the idea of dropping hundreds of troops behind enemy lines sounded crazy. But by 1944, airborne divisions became one of the deadliest tools in the war. They cut off reinforcements, destroyed key bridges, seized crossroads, blocked escape routes, confused commanders, forced the enemy to fight in every direction. One small group of paratroopers could ruin an entire enemy operation. Modern special forces, SAS, Green Berets, Navy SEALs, follow the same idea. A small, skilled group can change an entire battlefield. And that idea was proven in 1944. Code breaking became a secret weapon. Imagine knowing your enemy's plans before they even move. That happened in 1944. It wasn't just Enigma getting cracked. It was the speed. Code breakers were now reading German, Japanese, and Italian messages in near real time. Whole battles turned because someone in a quiet room figured out what a coded word meant. This is the foundation of cyber warfare, hacking intelligence agencies, digital spying, surveillance, drone targeting. Every time a government intercepts a signal today, they're using techniques born in 1944-5. Air power became the king of the war. Before 1944, planes were support tools. Fast, useful, but not the center of war. But by 1944, whoever controlled the air controlled everything else. Planes decided who could move troops, who could get supplies, who could reinforce, who could attack, who even survived. Bombers destroyed railroads, factories, bridges, fuel depots. Fighter planes hunted tanks, trucks, and troop carriers. Recon planes photographed every corner of Europe. Armies were no longer fighting each other directly. They were fighting the sky. This is why nearly every war today begins the same way. Take the skies, or lose everything. The Eastern Front rewrote the meaning of massive. Operation Bagration in 1944 is one of the most devastating offensives ever launched. It destroyed entire German army groups. Cities vanished. Forests caught fire for days. Villages disappeared. The scale was insane. Millions of troops, thousands of tanks, non-stop artillery, miles of front lines moving every day. This wasn't war. This was a tidal wave. Modern large-scale operations, from NATO planning to Russian doctrine to Chinese military strategy, study this offensive. Because it proved one thing: size plus a speed beats almost anything. Guerrilla fighters became a real threat. Resistance fighters had been active for years, but 1944 is when they became powerful. In France, Poland, Greece, Yugoslavia, and more, local fighters became key parts of huge operations, sabotaging bridges, derailing trains, cutting telegraph lines, sending intel to the Allies, hiding downed pilots, ambushing patrols, disrupting supply routes. They made the German occupation impossible to maintain. 44 is the reason modern armies train for urban warfare, sniper threats, small hit-and-run attacks, hidden explosive, improvised weapons, because modern conflict isn't always tank versus tank. Sometimes it's a handful of determined people who know their land better than any army. Rocket technology leapt into the future. The German V-1 and V-2 rockets were terrifying. Not because they won the war, they didn't, but because they introduced a new kind of threat: long-range, unstoppable, unpredictable strikes. People who had never seen war suddenly heard a buzzing engine, then silence, then an explosion. Or worse, no sound at all. The V-2 hit before anyone heard it. These rockets were the grandparents of ballistic missiles, cruise missiles, space rockets, nuclear delivery systems, satellite launch vehicles. Everything from the Cold War missile race to the moon landing started with these 1944 weapon tests. Logistics became more important than bullets. 1944 proved a brutal truth. You can have the best soldiers in the world, but if you don't have gas, food, parts, fuel, maps, and working radios, you lose. The Allies built entire floating harbors, mulberry harbors, just to keep the flow of supplies moving. They built pipelines under the ocean to send fuel from England to France. They fixed tanks on beaches, inside barns, and destroyed villages. They moved ammo faster than ever recorded in history. This is why modern militaries now spend more on logistics than almost anything else. Because 1944 showed you can't win a war if your army is hungry or stuck. Strategy became about the whole world, not one battle. By 1944, generals weren't thinking about one country or one front. They were thinking globally. Hit here, it affects there. Move troops here, it weakens that place. Lose an island in Asia, The Atlantic feels it. Push on the Eastern Front. The Western Front changes. War became a global puzzle. Modern militaries copy this approach today. Global alliances, worldwide bases, shared intelligence, satellite monitoring, international supply routes. This mindset started in 1944. The exact moment warfare changed wasn't a single explosion or a single battle. It was the collision of everything at once. D-Day on one side, Bagration on the other. Rocket tests in Germany, code-breaking rooms in England, factories running non-stop in the US, underground fighters in Europe. New tanks rolling out every month, new planes taking off every week, new strategies forming every day. 44 was the moment old war cracked, and new war took over. Every part of modern warfare, special forces, drones, missiles, deception, global strategy, intelligence networks, comes from the firestorm of 1944. It was a year where the world didn't just fight. It adapted, reshaped itself, and created the blueprint for everything that came after. When you watch the news today, or hear about a missile test, or see a drone strike, or read about cyber attacks, you're seeing the shadow of decisions made in 1944. And the wildest part? Most people don't even know how much of our modern world was born in that one chaotic year. If you enjoy our journey, please like and subscribe to our channel, and if you like our content and want to support me, you are welcome to buy me a coffee. The link is in the description box below.